no calorie counting, no food restrictions, no crazy workout routines, and it's working. Hi, my name's Hayley. I am the 40-ish woman. At the end of last year, I was over 40, fat and fed up. I knew things had to change, not just my weight, but my whole outlook on life. I was stuck. I've tried all the diets. In fact, I would call myself a career dieter, having dieted for decades, my entire adult life. And this is when I drew the line. This far, no further. I will not spend the next 40 years the way I've spent the last 40 years. So, before I get into what I did, let's see the results of my first month of ditching diet culture. So this was me at the beginning of March 2024, 5'5", 43 years old and 240 pounds. I also took some measurements, they're all in the inches, bust, underbust, waist, hips, just basically the biggest parts of where the tape measure would go round. And this is me at the beginning of April. So I now weigh 220 pounds. I've lost 20 pounds, which is massive. Measurement wise, my bust is now 43, which is a 1.5 inch loss. My underbust is 38.5, which is a 1 inch loss. Biggest result was my waist. I've lost 3 inches, which is now 37. And my hips are now 51 inches, so I've lost 2.5 inches from there. It's almost a little bit disheartening not to see more difference in the pictures. But this is my overcritical self again. I really need to do something about that perfectionism. But I think you can see my bum does stick out less, and where my hips would come out from my waist is definitely smoother, and my bum definitely looks flatter there. And if I turn around, you can see the sort of indentation where my waist is definitely smaller on the right. So, progress. So, how I'm doing it. And each of these points needs its own video really, but I'm going to try and be as concise as possible. I have a tendency to waffle, but I'll keep it as simple as possible for now. Number 1, abandon everything you know or think you know about weight loss, dieting and food. Rules and restrictions, throw it away, clean sheet. This is about listening to your body and learning to trust your body again. Number 2, and this is a biggie, I had to acknowledge why I was overweight. And it might sound obvious, but I eat for reasons other than hunger. And there is so much to unpack in that statement. And I would encourage anyone who is essentially abusing food to seek therapy to try and figure out what's going on up here. I had sessions and I joined a group with a wonderful woman called Rachel Foy. I'll put all her details in the bottom of this video. She runs a group called The Soul Fed Woman, and it is about unpacking this mess. And it doesn't matter if they're big T's, small T's, traumas everywhere, because if you're in the situation where you're using food for reasons other than hunger, something's done that. You have learned to use food as a coping mechanism, which I have. Because eating a family-sized bar of dairy milk is easier than acknowledging my feelings and working through them and improving myself. I can talk more about this, my personal journey through that another time. And it kind of sounds weird to call yourself a food addict, but if you think about it, if you're using food for reasons other than hunger, you are abusing food, you are misusing food, you are misusing a substance in exactly the same way that an alcoholic misuses alcohol or a drug addict misuses heroin or whatever. It is exactly the same thing. You're not dealing with something and you're using food to push the feelings down, ignore them, whatever it is. It's a misuse of food. I was using food as an emotional suppressant, And the worst part of it is, it's really, really good and it's freely available, and a quick walk down the snack aisle in your local supermarket will solve a multitude of problems. So, start working on yourself, seek therapy. It's an ongoing process, I'm not there yet. Number 3, I have given myself 100% genuine permission to eat whatever I want, whenever I want. No rules. There is no caveat to this. Anything, anytime. And I know exactly what you're thinking. Oh, well, I'll be eating a cake for breakfast, ice cream for lunch, and more of the same for dinner. All day long, in fact, no breaks. Because that's exactly where your mind goes. You're like, I can eat whatever I want. Well, okay, cookies all day then. And if you take point 3 with what I'm about to say now, it makes more sense. Number 4, only eat when you are genuinely hungry. And this is harder than it sounds, and it took me a solid few months to really get on board with this, because every diet you have ever been on has ignored your natural hunger signals. You've been told what to eat, you've been told when to eat it, you've been told how to eat it, you've been told what portion sizes to have, you've been told to overeat. You have literally been ignoring what your body actually wants and followed the rules of whatever diet is. And you may have heard this referred to as intuitive eating, what it is. But intuitive eating on its own isn't enough if you haven't dealt with why you're overeating in the first place. So you have to do all of these things together for them to work. I'm going to make a separate video on authentically listening to your hunger signals. So if you want to get these other videos, subscribe and you'll see them as I release them. And you can talk to me and we can work together on it. Because at the root of it, all these diets that we've done are just utter nonsense, because they are dealing with the food. And the food isn't the problem. The food's never been the problem. And it makes me angry and upset. I feel I've been robbed of years of my life by trying to conform to these standards and going on these diets and ultimately failing, because all diets fail. And yet somehow it's all my fault and I'm weak and I'm the problem. It's not okay. And you might be watching this and thinking, oh, why should I listen to her? She's still fat. Come back to me when you've lost all the weight and then I'll believe what you're saying. But I want to say it now because I feel like a completely different person to who I have been previously dieting. I feel like I've been walking down this corridor for the last 40 years and suddenly I've seen this door that I've never seen before and I've gone in and it's a whole new approach to everything and it's awesome. And something else I promised myself was, even if I never lost all the weight or whatever, the one major thing I wanted to change in my life was to be free of this diet culture, to be free of waking up every single morning thinking about, what did I do yesterday? Was I good yesterday? Did I eat well yesterday? Did I eat bad yesterday? How am I going to let that affect today? Am I going to carry on eating bad today because, oh, well, I messed up yesterday, so let's carry on. And it's just this constant narrative of food, food, food. And I am over it. And I feel like I'm there already with the mindset. So the weight loss should and will follow. So, number 5, consistency. Getting your head around the previous points that I've mentioned could take months, it could take years. We're all on different journeys. I would say it took me a solid 3 months of re-educating myself before I was in a position where I could actually start to lose weight. And it was really hard. And I'm still working on it now, but without any effort, the weight has started to come off as I've been consistent with changing my thought patterns. What's the fancy word? Neuroplasticity. You can literally change the way your brain operates. And before it happens, you can't imagine it happening. But once it has, it's like magic. I don't know how else to put it. But you will fail, you will make mistakes, but you will get back up and you will try again. And this is what you have to keep doing. And even now, yesterday, I made my dinner on autopilot. I don't know why, I was a bit tired. My little boy was chattering away, and I made my food and I sat down and I was halfway through eating it and I thought, actually, I'm not even really hungry. Why am I eating this? And I even put in another mouthful as I was thinking it. And I'm like, I don't want this and I'm not hungry. So I give it the dog. She does well. So after I did that, I've got to bring myself back to centre, think about what I'm doing and listen to my body. And the more you do it, the more automatic it comes. And you will still get it wrong. I still get it wrong. I'm only a month into the weight loss, 4 months into changing the way that I think about things. But you have to keep pushing forward. And I've even started fitness classes now because I enjoy doing it, not because I'm doing a fitness class to lose weight. And I am genuinely enjoying going. It's fun. And after I've been to a fitness class, I don't really fancy the greasy pizza that I might have eaten 6 months ago. So I'm looking at lighter, more nutritious foods so that I can perform better in my fitness classes for fun, not to lose weight, not to do these other things, just for me because I like doing it. And this is the mindset change. And I can still eat pizza if I want it. Ultimate freedom, whatever food, whatever time, no restrictions. But I have genuinely noticed I just don't fancy it as much anymore. If somebody was having takeaway in my house and ordered pizza, I'd probably have it. But I wouldn't order the giant thing that I used to eat on my own and then continue to eat just because it's there and it's mine. I'd probably just have a couple of slices and leave it at that. And there's no effort involved in that. That's just listening to my body authentically. And all of this just gives me more time to think about being kind to myself and looking after myself, learning to like myself, perhaps. And it's just like this totally mad snowball effect of me feeling better and better. And the better I feel, the more I want to look after myself. And I don't think I've ever felt like this, because when you're stuck in diet culture and ultimately failing, your self-esteem plummets because you're telling yourself you're failing at the diet and it's your fault and you're wrong and you're rubbish and useless. So you're not going to like yourself and you just end up feeling worse. Now, the only other thing that I've got to add into the mix now at the ripe old age of 43 is the perimenopause. And I have some really, really bad days that I won't get into right now, but it's mental, it's physical, it's both. It's not nice. But the more I can do to help myself on a general day-to-day basis, it does help me deal with the perimenopause stuff and makes it a bit easier. I've got so much more I want to say. And please feel free to subscribe and watch me go through this journey and join me on it. But I'll wrap it up here. You can be the best version of yourself. Don't think that because you're 40, 50, 60, 70, there isn't enough time to change. It's not worth changing, because it is. It is absolutely worth changing. You are worth more. Draw a line, start afresh, see your failures as lessons and keep pushing forward. Our lives are worth living to the best of our abilities. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.